Ryan. Mr. McElveen, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So tonight's discussion is our own localized version of a vibrant, ongoing global philosophical debate to which no one around the world really has found a definitive answer, and that is, how much should citizens pay their leaders? And unfortunately, as you can see, I'm afraid we aren't going to make an unequivocal end to that debate tonight. But as you have seen through the testimony and comments, there are serious arguments on both sides of this debate. However, in researching this issue, I've seen and shared with many of my colleagues that a vast majority of studies by economists with the National Bureau of Economic Research and other institutions show that higher public official salaries will bring better and more talented candidates into politics, just like higher salaries would do for all education professionals. Nowhere has this issue been more publicly debated than in Singapore, where Lee Kuan Yew, who we lost a couple weeks ago, led the charge to pay politicians what they could be making in the private sector so that he could recruit the best people to government service and ensure that young people could aspire to government service. Now in Singapore, top leaders make close to $2 million, and polls show that people in Singapore perceive their government as extremely honest, far more so than Americans perceive their own government. One of the most interesting studies of this issue comes from Brazil, where the Constitution was amended in 2004 to change the salaries of local politicians so that some in some areas of the country earned higher salaries than others. After tracking the education levels, professions, and wealth of those who ran for office, they then tracked how they performed in their positions, both in the high-salaried positions and lower-salaried positions. The politicians with higher pay passed more bills. They were better at securing resources for their constituents. They were also better educated and more experienced. But tonight's discussion isn't about this global debate. It's about our local conditions. And as everyone knows, our decision tonight unfortunately combines two of the things most demonized in American public discourse today. Number one, elected officials, and more importantly for our purposes, public education. I partially blame Mark Twain for this, who a century ago said that in the first place God made idiots, that was for practice, then he made school boards. Put simply, there is a lack of respect for what we do as educators, and an even greater lack of respect for what we do as education public officials. The fact that we have had more people sign up to testify, to protest potential school board raises tonight than showed up to testify before the Board of Supervisors to support our school system budget is emblematic of this critical American paradox. For example, another case of this is the disparate ways that people view us from other public officials. At the public hearing prior to the salary increase by the Board of Supervisors, as you've heard tonight, a grand total of 3 people showed up. One person didn't speak, so they had 2. And guess what? Their salary increase was almost double what is being proposed for us tonight. So what you're witnessing tonight is not just a disrespect of school board members. It is disrespect of public education and all of us who engage in that work. Trust me, I have no problem with people disrespecting school board members. We get it all the time. But it is important to remember that respect starts at the top. The way school board members are treated reflects the value that the community places on all of the employees in our system, from the superintendent down to the classroom. And the current climate of disrespect of our school system and of public education is not cool with me. If we continue to be viewed as second-class citizens by society, and more importantly, by the Board of Supervisors that supposedly is there to support us, that's to no one's advantage in this system. That lack of respect is consistently transferred to our employees in the form of inadequate funding to use for their compensation increases. As several of our speakers tonight mentioned, we should all be in this together to fight for the respect of public education. So tonight's discussion is not just about us up here. It's about you, our teachers, our cafeteria workers, our custodians, our bus drivers, our principals, and our families. For our employees who are witnessing this tonight, I only hope you know that we hold more respect for you than American society does for all of us as public officials and as educators. I know that everyone at this dais wants better pay for our employees. I, for one, think that the position of teacher should be the highest paid in society. But that won't happen until we restore society's respect for the work that we all do together. Tonight, as my colleagues are aware, I will be voting against my conscience. I will vote against doing what is right. Instead, I will be voting to represent the many members of our community who have reached out to us and, in a sense, devalued our work and failed to realize that the school board advocates for everyone in our school system. I will vote no to represent all of those who believe that public education isn't worth the money, that all the facets of our organization, from our bus drivers to our superintendent, aren't worth the respect of society. The question we should be asking tonight isn't whether the community wants a second-class school board. If that's what the community wants, then they will only receive a second-class school system. Tonight, we're talking about how much we're paid, but we haven't really taken much time to talk about the price we pay as public servants in American society. Our privacy is invaded, our free time is non-existent, our family lives are uprooted. For those of us who work another job, our vacation days are almost entirely spent on school board work sessions and daytime school events. I cannot look into the face of students today and encourage them to be public servants because of what I've experienced. Don't get me wrong, I love what I do just as all of us do, but I can't imagine many others enjoying it. Maybe, just maybe, my no vote tonight will result in one fewer expletive-laden voicemail, one fewer person interested in hacking my family's computers and utility accounts, one fewer person prank calling my house in the middle of the night so incessantly that the phone has to be unhooked. Just maybe. We might not be here for the money, as Mr. Moon said, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be accorded basic human dignity. We shouldn't be punished for seeking to serve our community. And the current system punishes all of us. So next year, when our board chairman presents our budget to the Board of Supervisors, and those supervisors dismiss our presentation by looking down, doodling, and smirking like we're second-class citizens, I encourage our FCPS community of public educators to remember this conversation about respect and the lack thereof. And you'll understand why so many of my colleagues are so passionate about this issue, and why you should have been too.